Welcome to Inhale, Exhale, Elevate. I am Autumn Shelton. Today's guest is Elizabeth Udell. She's an experienced professional in the cannabis industry, specializing in social media marketing. Since 2015, she has built a global reputation for her work in cannabis, successfully creating and executing social media campaigns across diverse markets. Her expertise spans various regions, including North America, Europe, and beyond, helping cannabis brands develop effective strategies that resonate with local and international audiences. She has worked with Cookies, MedMen, Cannacraft, Houseplant, Arrow, Kush Queen, First Smoke of the Day, Amuse, West Coast Cure, Wink, and so many more. Her innovative approach and deep understanding of the industry's regulatory landscape have made her a sought-after consultant in cannabis social media.
Welcome to Inhale, Exhale, Elevate podcast. I am Autumn Shelton. This is a podcast hosted from our Santa Barbara Coast family cannabis farm to help keep your feet on the ground and your head in the sky. Autumn Brands and our female founders have a message that goes beyond just flowers. Learn about how our two families created a booming cannabis company that is leading the industry towards cleaner and more sustainable cannabis production. We aspire to move beyond strictly cannabis to help plant medicine lose the stoner stigma as we talk about all things holistic health.
Welcome, Elizabeth.
Hi, happy to be here.
Let's dive right in. Can you tell us about your journey in the cannabis industry and what initially drew you to cannabis social media?
Absolutely. So I'm from the East Coast, New York and South Florida, and I came out here in September 2014 to Los Angeles, and I've been a consumer of cannabis since I was about 16 years old. And as soon as I moved out here, I was medical, so I immediately got a card. I have a lot of gastro issues, so I qualified, and just always was so passionate about the plant. So I came out here to work in the music industry, but on the side, around 2015, I saw that there was an untapped market in cannabis for actual marketing. I would go to dispensaries and be like, I'll do your Instagram for like $100 a week. But because the money, and the shops can close any moment back then, no one was really into it. But my friend started a distribution company and I kind of, took over from there. We were doing shoots. We were really just doing whatever we could in this medical industry. And then as soon as we flipped in 2018, I joined MedMen. At the time, the very beginning of 2018, that was the hot one to join. They were doing actual marketing. There were billboards, there were ads. And I just immediately dove right in, got their Instagram going, and that's where it's been ever since.
And then you kind of catapulted from there to all the different kind of brands. And what is it when you look at a company like MedMen or Cannacraft, what is your strategic approach for them? There's so many challenges with cannabis in this industry and what you're able to do. What's kind of your core strategic plan going in?
I think what's interesting is, and especially with MedMen at the time, we pioneered editorial style. Like we were spending so much on really high-end shoots that was, applicable to the beauty industry, fashion. In 2018, when cannabis became legal in California, the whole world was looking at us. And all these brands were becoming established out here, and they were, like I said, equated to beauty, fashion. We were working with influencers. We were making these like really high quality content. And that was going well for a little while. And then because social media is an ever changing landscape and the algorithm, we had to really always push forward and elevate to make sure at the end of the day that the content is seen. So the editorial stuff was going really well for a minute, but then I had to realize, wait, Instagram doesn't know that this is a joint, a girl artfully holding a joint by the pool, right? So then I had to start incorporating SEO. We had to start adding words to the graphic. Like I had to, again, make sure Instagram knew what it was being fed to our followers. So whenever I work with a new brand, and mind you, starting with Men as a real retailer, we worked with everyone. We worked with Autumn, we worked with all brands because we were a retailer. We had everyone under us. So really just knowing all the brands firsthand, how to market them, their best products, was a really great jumping off point. And I've worked with a few retailers since. But coming on to a new brand, at first, you got to do the audit. You got to see what they're doing, what's working. And a lot of the times, it's very easy for me to come in and just be like, oh, well, you're missing these kind of viral style memes or these kind of reels, or you're taking photos and you're not actually elevating it to the next level. So a lot of the times, it is kind of reinventing the wheel every time. But I'm like, look, no content, no question is too, I say stupid. Like, make a reel about what is CBN, make a post about what is CBD. We're so in our bubble in the cannabis industry that we don't realize that consumers don't know a lot about this plant still. Mm-hmm. So education is always going to be my content backbone. So going in, seeing what they're already doing, and just really seeing what they're missing is how I always approach in the beginning.
And I prefer that too. Like, I prefer to really put out that lifestyle and education and be able to teach the consumer about this incredible plant. Mm-hmm. However, a lot of the consumers do still want to see kind of flower porn. Yeah. They want to be able to see the images of how incredible these nugs look, or the greenhouses. But that in itself can get you shut down today. And Instagram and TikTok, I believe, has an algorithm now that they can actually see if it is, they do see like flower or greenhouse plants, then they will block you. Is that right?
Yeah, TikTok is super. And right from the beginning, I got on board with TikTok beginning of 2020, just like the rest of the world during the pandemic. And we learned firsthand that TikTok was definitely like the toughest on cannabis. So, spoken word education and humor without actually showing the product is always going to be your best bet on TikTok. And, just like what you said with Instagram, unfortunately, like showing those nugs. And in a way, think about how there's like hundreds and thousands and millions of the same photo of the nug that like it doesn't even perform half the time anyways. Mm-hmm. So kind of, taking that content, elevating it, like maybe making a video of the grow, just anyway, just to get your content seen at the end of the day. That's what I always tell my clients. I'm like, look, we can make all this wonderful content, but if it's not getting seen, like, what's the point? Like, you always have to optimize for Instagram and social. So yeah, like the bud porn, it's always really nice. But if it's like 1 in a million, you gotta like switch it up a little bit.
And is it good to, in today's world too, we've really transitioned to more video. Like, yes. TikTok, I think, really transitioned that for all the different platforms, including Instagram. Should you just focus on video, or should it still be a combination of like images, stories, videos? Is there a perfect recipe to, one, for the consumer and marketing, but two, for the algorithm to really get fed to people? What's your take on it?
Definitely. I think Reels is always going to be the best way to reach new audiences right now. They have their own feed in Instagram. Photos alone, unless you're, putting hashtags to death, it's very hard to reach new audiences with a photo. So I always say, if this post could be a photo, make it a video. Tell your story so much more. Also, Reels are less policed than photos and captions. One of my clients is Arrow, and we have vapes and we have edibles, and every edible graphic pretty much immediately gets taken down. Like, it doesn't even get flagged. Because
edible, really?
Oh, yeah. Edible packaging, and there's just like so much trigger words on the packaging. So I always make the edible content into Reels if I can.
Okay. Interesting.
Because yeah, it's just like I said, it's less police, knock on wood. I've never had a reel taken down. Reels have been flagged, of course, but never taken down like as instantly as a photo or a graphic. Instagram's definitely looking at captions, so you always want to be safe about that. And especially with your photos, if you have like a questionable to them photo coupled with a coupled with a questionable caption, it's not really going to you're definitely at risk. So I think I would say 80% reels, 20% photos if you can. UGC video, user generated content, meaning content that you're tagged in and reposted. Photos always do well, lifestyle. But yeah, I mean, if you have an announcement, if you have anything cool, definitely try and make a video. And it doesn't really have to be high end. I make a lot of my best stuff with my phone. That is the kind of style that most users are getting enjoying their content anyways. So it really is great how marketing budgets can be cut in half when it comes to video. It doesn't have to be the high end stuff that we think. So yeah, definitely invest in reels if you can.
And so when you say flagged, is this still people like haters coming in and flagging your post, or is this AI mostly coming in and flagging these
Um,
content?
Mostly AI. When you go on your settings and you toggle account and you see that you can see if your account's in bad standing, and then there's a little section being like what can't be shown. And if you have a green check mark, your content according to Instagram is in the clear. If there's an X, it'll show you what's questionable. And at the end of the day, you're posting cannabis.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
always trying to see what's going to make them happy. I always appeal or like I archive if it's been a little bit. But I would say if haters are going into it, then that's showing that your content's probably going to be like getting taken down. It is rare for reels to get taken down, but photos definitely are at risk, especially from people reporting. So like flagging, that's mostly an Instagram AI kind of deal. I would say.
I just bought a one of the trifolds for the iPhone so that I could start doing these kind of like at home kind of videos more often, like we're talking about here. And it was hilarious. So my kids took my phone and started making their own videos while I was getting ready. I hadn't even tried it yet. My 9-year-old son and my 5-year-old daughter. I mean, it's my phone is full of videos, but my son like figured out very quickly on the iPhone, in the camera, how to like change it to the black background and the contouring and things that I didn't even know about. So I got my 9-year-old taught me how to do better
No,
video, which is amazing. So
it's great. They know it all.
I know. So there's actually so much you can do, and it always seems like it's not obtainable if it's not something you're used to. But there's a lot of great, I think, options, like you said, that you can do really affordably on your own phone, which is
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. And that's like the best kind of content right now, anyways.
How do you foresee the cannabis marketing landscape evolving in the next 5 years?
Um, I think that, I mean, it's funny because I'll get hit on by some brands by like, in like Oregon or something really small. And I would assume that if you're on Instagram, you see what your competitors are doing, you kind of want to emulate, but that's not the case at all. There's a lot of brands who are just kind of like, posting flyers, posting low content, and like really just trying to see like what they're doing wrong. So I think that everyone's just going to keep trying to emulate the formula that works. And that
Mm-hmm.
is making the trendy videos, still going to go after the bud porn. I think there is always going to be now just a more emphasis on better content that performs in general. And that is, the more you're online, the more you're understanding again, like what your competitors are doing, but also just seeing that like editorial style is expensive and doesn't perform. Again, a girl holding a cannabis drink by the pool, that's not going to hit like a video of like showing like what the drink is, going more into it. So I think already, I mean, 2018 is when this all started. So, I mean, it's already been 7 years, and I think we've already like moved away from a style. So I just see us, continuously working with the platform, working with online trends. People always complain about Instagram and, be like, oh, well, I made this app, but like Instagram isn't going away. It
Right.
is a necessary evil. One of my clients, they asked if we can shift to a meme account, and they are a brand with products, and we've just been posting memes, and we've already gained 4,000 followers in the last 2 weeks because 3 of those posts have hit the million mark. So
What
it's
kind of meme? Tell me more about this.
so,
I didn't even.
it's all video memes.
Okay.
I'm on TikTok, kind of just sourcing some really funny stoner humor and reposting, crediting, and that has done more in almost the year that I've been with them than actually doing like cannabis products. So it's bringing followers. We don't really have much product on the account, but we are making it known that this is a cannabis brand. But at the end of the day, this is all safe content, and like people come on these apps to be entertained, to share, to laugh. At the end of the day, we were just so hindered with cannabis to really get the actual message across. So this strategy, and maybe like when we reach, like we're at like 5,100 followers now, started from 1,800. So maybe when we reach 10K, we can like kind of shift a little, but we have a highly engaged audience, and that's like really like where we're starting with that. So
Yeah. No, it's
yeah,
fantastic.
so that's been a test for sure.
And do these have words too? I mean, is it just, do you have words across the video, and then also in the, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely just like super fun. The conversation is going, always want to post controversial things. It doesn't matter what people are saying in the comments. It's like literally a drop in the pond when it
Yeah.
comes to the internet. So, post anything that's going to get a reaction, and then the rest is history.
Interesting. And yeah, I mean, we got our Instagram taken down years ago now, and we've never been able to get it back. So our name has an underscore and continues to have an underscore. But it's very frustrating, but I'm very nervous to, put a lot of money into social media, because you lose all those followers, and then you got to start all over again.
Yeah.
That's pretty daunting to have to go through that.
Yeah, and it's very disheartening. I mean, you do all this work, and like again, one of my clients recently got their account lost, and we try to get it back, but it's like we're not going to spend thousands of dollars for like and it can be taken down again, even if you do get it back. That's why, definitely want to play it safe with lifestyle, but not even lifestyle with the brands per se, but again, the memes, just like the overall culture of it, can really just help in general.
Is there any way to, we can't say anything's for sale on any of the social media, right? Is there any unique tips on how to really kind of promote sales, still?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything, like, right, like it's all awareness, like, right, like, no sale for sure, but awareness, if there's a new product, like I hate being vague in the caption, but you just got to be vague and hope that they understand. If there's a new strain out, you can definitely compliantly talk about it. Again, I always opt for a reel. There was, so one of my clients, Arrow, they have this new Galaxy battery. So I just made an unboxing reel that got 12,000 views. And then, the alternative would have been a graphic, right? With being like, new Galaxy, but like, who cares, right? Like, let's see the box. Let's see an unopened. Let's see, this going back in. Like, there's just so much. And I did it with my phone. I did it with a tripod, literally just unboxing. I'm not even on it. But that alone got so much more views than that graphic could be. So, work with the platform. The platform is really prioritizing video right now. Just do it. Yeah. And that is like your best way for sales because, of course, all the comments were like, where can I find this? Where can I find this? Where can I find this? So that's always like just going to be your best bet. And again, a graphic might just not even get seen. It might not even get pushed. But when we were first starting out, video wasn't prioritized on social media, and we're making these really nice videos that were not getting seen. Now we have the opportunity to like tell the stories that we always wanted to tell. So I just say, take advantage of it as much as you can.
What are your thoughts on like the influencers? Early on it was like something you really did, but in today's market, especially in the states that don't have money anymore, and because you could get taken down, is it really worth it to do influencer in this industry at this stage?
I think it's worth, and there's like always a shift between like influencer to content creator. And I always say content creators I prioritize because they're already making content on their own that does well. So they know what they're doing. So, if I sent them this pen and I'd be like, hey, like let's collab on a post, which by the way is the only way to go right now in cannabis. You get their audience, you get more eyes. So I think it's worth it if you have some really cool like content creators in your area. Pay them a couple $100 depending on their following. Send them the product and be like, let's make something fun. And a lot of the times that is going to be like humorous. Like they're online, they make trends. I always go after the influencers who are funny. I have like my friends who just understand the platform already. They have a good following. Like that's who I want to invest in. Before we were going after like, the soccer moms and like people who didn't really use cannabis. And like, that's all well and good, but we really isolated the stoners at the beginning, and they're still the tastemakers. They're the ones who actually buy the product, who smoke the product. And now they're the ones who know how to make really good cannabis content. So I think it's definitely worth it. If you can get a collab post going, and if you can just, prioritize someone who is already making really funny and relatable content. Don't go after the influencers who are just like posting photos with product. Go after the content creators who are making good reels.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Because definitely sometimes you can, the shiny, I know we had some influencers that we chose because we felt like they had a really good following, but the post didn't actually kind of come through in that kind of creative content that we were looking for, that really kind of was more engaging versus just having a name. And having the people that follow them, they want to be inspired. So it can't just be, oh, I have this product. It has to be something real behind it. Right. So back to kind of the crystal ball question, it also just kind of really depends on where we go with legalization, right? Because we could be opened up. You could have a whole new world and have everything like the normal CPG world does as well. So that could really just change the dynamic. Now, unfortunately, it feels like we're at a standstill right now with rescheduling and where that's going to go. That wasn't even guaranteed that would help us in our marketing and being able to advertise like a normal business.
I mean, I did a TikTok summit for Anheuser-Busch, and I realized that they're not on TikTok because they're alcohol, right? So alcohol, the sex worker industry. These are all like, it's not just cannabis. It's any industry that is 21 plus that is going to get flagged. And, in a perfect world, right, you think advertising, well, if I target 21 plus and I stay in my state, like I should be able to advertise. And that's definitely not the case. And the Farm Bill really kind of opened up a ton of gray area. And I was getting cannabis ads, and I'm like, wait, this is illegal. How are they getting through this? I need to study this, but it's really tapered down. I think, they kind of like put the hammer on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, legalization unfortunately won't solve our issues because it is still age gated industry. So, I wouldn't use this as the holy grail. I would still really just try and find out like what you can post, and then still rely on that for sure.
Well, alcohol and tobacco can't do anything for sale either? Are they limited?
They're extremely limited.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. They're I mean, we were working with kind of like a Zyn knockoff, which is like the the pouches. They definitely had a lot of advertising laws as well, especially, health claims at the end of the day. So, I mean, a lot of industries like our own which are considered legal because it is age gated.
Yes.
They
Yes.
get in trouble too.
Oh, okay. So there's no hope for us then to be ever advertised and, on social media, and we need to go the regular route. Once that's open, then we can actually then go the regular route of advertising though, in different ways and forms.
Yeah.
Like on Google and Google ads and those kind of things. But
yeah. And I know Google ads is already kind of chill in my experience, especially when it came like to hemp stuff, but now California kind of put so like, I mean, we're constantly going to be figuring it out, unfortunately. I mean, 7 year, and I always just say 2018 legal because, that's when California legalized. That's, when my career like really took off. But yeah, I mean, it's been 7 years of legal out here, and like, I feel like we haven't done anything.
Yeah. And so for you personally, are you sticking with just the cannabis kind of world of social media, or are you branching out into, you kind of mentioned Anheuser-Busch, other different CPG world as well, industries?
Yeah, so I've been with Prince Street Pizza for over 3 years now. They are, they're my world. I love working with this brand, and then we have a bunch of other restaurants underneath. So, I think it got like really daunting with cannabis, constantly coming onto a brand and having to start over every single time, or, with marketing and social media, that's usually the first thing to go with budget cuts. And it was just like, at the end of the day, I'm so passionate about this industry, but I don't have job security.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to be able to work with Prince Street Pizza. And then, if the opportunity to like, consult on the side with cannabis came up, I take it. But because of that, I've worked on so many brands, so many projects in the last few years, just because I am extremely skilled in it. And I think, financial wise, brands are getting really hurt, even like just taking the chance on someone who says they know what they're doing cannabis social media wise, but kind of get duped at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I will take on like some consulting gigs with cannabis when it makes sense. And there's like really good brands, and I still have so many friends and ex-coworkers who go from brand to brand and, take me on as well because we work together well. So yeah, but, I definitely enjoy also creative wise right? Like with Prince Street, I'm able to do anything I want because it's pizza.
Yeah.
And, I started out in the music industry, and it could just be really like creatively stifling to work in cannabis and just not really reaching your full potential because of the restrictions.
I
So
feel you. Yes, I feel you right now.
yeah, exactly. So it's nice to have
Yeah.
access to both industries.
And you mentioned you'd been smoking or consuming since you were 16. Can you tell us about your first experience with cannabis?
Yeah. So I grew up in South Florida, which is like beach town, and it was the end of sophomore year of high school, and my friends had like kind of smoked before. So we were at a friend's house, and they lit up a blunt, and it was awesome. And I would smoke often, like on the weekends and at parties, but I never bought myself or had a piece pretty much until like sophomore year of college. Before I was just like, yeah, like just like the girl in the situation, like yeah, smoke me out, blah blah. But I had such a great relationship with it. It was the best. And then, of course, when I came out here, it was just like my usage definitely went up because one, it was medical, so it was not that crazy expensive with taxes, and it was just like such good stuff and all these edible, like it was just and dabbing, like everything was just like so much at your disposal. So it was great. I've always just really enjoyed the plant so much.
It is a special plant and it helps people in so many different ways. We are
Yeah,
so, I'm so grateful for it. It is, we've fought so hard and so long, and people have fought way longer than, we probably have for this plant. And it
yeah,
is hard in today's industry where we feel like it's still, it was like 20 steps forward, but it's like 30 steps back, and it's been definitely really challenging since 2018 and before. But to see the ups and downs that we've gone through, and to believe in something, and you know want so much more for this plant and for people to be able to access this plant. It's frustrating to be where we are still right now.
yeah.
And
It is really hard. How I mean, again, this has to do with like federal access, but yeah, I mean, it's really frustrating to have it be completely legal in one state and then the next one over, and it's just incredibly unfair.
mhm.
And when I was with Cannacraft, we were working with Farmer and the Felon. It was great to directly work with a brand that was making an impact. And, I'm always such an advocate for reform. And you can't work in this industry and not, understand that it is a privilege. And it's just really not fair at the end of the day. That even like back home in Florida, it's still medical there, and if you have over 28 grams, then it can be a felony for attempting to distribute. So yeah, it's just at the end of
I
the
know
day,
they were so close. They were so close on that
no,
ballot.
we trip ourselves up. No one gets in our own way harder than ourselves.
I know, I know. We have so many challenges still ahead of us. I mean, also the overregulation, overtaxation,
Mhm.
hemp and how that plays into all of this, and, how it negatively affects it, but also positively affects, the stigma,
Yeah,
and normalizing it, So, but finding that balance, we still got a ways to go here, unfortunately, on all of that.
definitely.
Um,
We've lost a lot of great brands. We've lost a lot of
yeah.
people in this industry. Again, due to funds and like job security, and it's really disheartening. California especially,
Hmm.
the taxes are out of control.
Hmm. And
Um,
could get worse
yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
yeah. There's really no end in sight. So I mean, we we definitely I know there needs to be just like a huge refresh across the board, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, on a positive note, how do you elevate daily? And that can be cannabis or walks or, I think you had a puppy back there. Um, so how do you elevate daily?
Um, I definitely love to walk. Um, I live in West Hollywood now, so I'm in a really great walkable area. I have a lot of hobbies. I do Legos, I read books. Um, yeah, definitely.
So Legos, let's go back to Legos. You build them?
I
Yeah.
do. I don't know if we can
Let's see
see. Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Whoa, look at that.
Yeah, so I definitely build Legos. That was a pandemic thing. At first, I started with puzzles, and then I realized like puzzles are not relaxing. Like they're not. Legos are relaxing. You
Yeah.
literally, I just sit down. I have like my table. Would light a joint. I would just like I do a bag. There's usually like
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
bags in there. Take
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
out and do one, and I'll just like open it up and just like sit and just like follow the directions. And it's become just so, not only how I elevate, but just also like really how I relax.
I
And
love that.
yeah,
I
and
have a 9-year-old, so he loves all of those. It can be an expensive habit.
unfortunately. Because it's like a fairly new one. I mean, I do a lot of the Lego adult sets, and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they're like 200, 250 starting half the time because they're so big. And I'm like,
Yeah.
was it always like this? Because I feel like the pandemic brought on a lot of Lego adults.
Mhm.
So like, and they're like really chucking out these sets. So I'm just like, I feel like they really like tapped into the market. Um, and then, yeah, reading. I was an English major for a hot minute. I used to always read, and then that just like fell to the wayside as I got a little older. And at the beginning of 2020, I was working for West Coast Cure in Irvine. And I was taking the train, and I'm like, I'm going to start reading again. And I've just been riding that wave. I read 51 books last year.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so it's been like really great to just, kind of just like get back into that too. So that's
Do you have
my
a special style of book that you like or?
um it's primarily new adult fiction.
Okay.
So anything out this year. Yeah, I can't really do the fantasy or like sci-fi. It always ends up being like, and that's just with being written, but like a lot of murder mysteries. But anything like just really popular and like the adult fiction. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I elevate.
Yeah, I stopped reading when I had kids because
Mhm.
there's no more time. And now in this last year I started really committing to reading again every
Okay.
night. And so my goal is 17 books this year.
Amazing. Make sure
So
you download. Do you have Goodreads? That's
no,
the
what's that?
It's an
It's an
it's an
app?
app, and you can track your goals. You can rate books. It's the best,
Oh,
and that's how I
okay.
discover new books. Yeah,
I'm gonna
Goodreads.
I'm gonna make a note.
Yeah, it's the best for any reader, and you'll have a profile, and people can follow you and see what you're reading. It's great.
Awesome. I'll
Yeah,
follow you once I get on there.
definitely.
Well, where can our followers find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I do sell a cannabis Instagram marketing guide that does pretty well. I think with and like it is, and it's funny. I think whenever like someone's kind of getting big online, they'll like make merch or they're like they have to like find a way to capitalize on these views. And when I started getting really popular on LinkedIn, I was like, how do I kind of, capitalize on this? I'm getting so many people to my profile, getting so many questions. Like, I should just suck it up, write a marketing guide, and sell it. And it's done super well because people really need this.
Yeah,
So
we bought it.
yeah, right. Then you see a lot of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so LinkedIn, and then from there, I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok. So yeah, so you can find me all there.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This was lovely, and I learned so much, and I hope all the listeners did too.
Yeah, this was amazing. I really, I'm a mentor, I'm a teacher. At the end of the day, I want to just like help everyone. So really just, if anyone listens to this and has questions or follow-ups, please reach out. Cause yeah, I mean, it's a very, very difficult industry to navigate. And that's why I'm here.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for listening. This is Inhale, Exhale, Elevate, and I am Autumn Shelton.